say to that?
Well, first off, Neil, remember that wealthy taxpayers are going to lose a lot of deductions as well. And I think the president has been committed, and the leadership here in Congress, the framework that is being released today, the blueprint, if you will, that's 5 or 6 pages long, obviously contemplates maintaining progressivity in the code and ensuring that there isn't a big tax cut for the wealthy. This is targeted toward middle-income taxpayers in this country who need a break. They haven't had a pay raise now for the past 8 years, and with these slow growth numbers that we've seen, 1.5%, and the Congressional Budget Office is projecting 2% for the next 10 years, that's just not good enough. We've got to get growth back to 3.5%, and we've got to reform our tax code to do that, allow the American people to keep more of what they earn, middle-income taxpayers, and make sure that businesses are competitive in the global marketplace so we don't continue to hemorrhage jobs and companies and profits to other parts of the world.
Given Chuck Schumer's reaction, though, Senator, you think the president wasted his time making overtures to the senator and to Nancy Pelosi when, in fact, as soon as his proposal came out, at least in Chuck Schumer's case, slapped it down?
Well, I think that, Neil, that Chuck Schumer's response is predictable. I mean, this is the well-worn line. Anytime you talk about reducing revenue coming into the federal government, the Democrats start getting out there chanting, this is tax cuts for the rich. It's anything but that. It's about growing the economy, creating higher wages, better paying jobs for more Americans, middle-income Americans, and giving middle-income Americans a tax break. So I guess, again, I'm not at all surprised that the Democrats are having this reaction. I think that's totally predictable. That's what Schumer's going to say. I think the president's efforts to reach out to Democrats have been more to Democrats that are likely to vote for this. And who
would they be? Now, the way I see it, sir, and I know Joe Donnelly, the Democrat from Indiana, your colleague, will be joining the president, we're told, out to Indiana there. Maybe Senator Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, possibly Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, the 3 prominent Senate Democrats who did not sign that letter saying not one penny of benefits for the well-to-do. I could see one, maybe potentially all 3. What about you?
I agree. I think that those are the 3 most likely candidates, and because they didn't sign the letter. But I also think there may be a slightly larger universe of people. I mean, I can think of Missouri, Montana states that are going to benefit from this, and I think it's going to be very hard for senators who represent those states if it
What about in your own party, Senator? I mean, John McCain comes to mind, Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski, some of the ones who've been resistant to some of the other efforts, for example, on health care.
Well, I'll tell you, Neil, I think the only way that we get Democrats is if we prove that we have enough Republicans to pass it. I mean, I think this has to be, we have to make the argument to Republicans that we can deliver 50 votes that are necessary to get this over the finish line, and then I think you start getting Democrats piling on. But I think this has got to be an exercise where we get our members, and some of those who weren't with us on health care, on tax reform, we've got to make the argument about what this is going to do to create economic growth and jobs in our economy. That's, I think, a message that resonates all across this country and hopefully with all of our Republican members.
Do you think that this is going to take months to sort out?
Well, I think we've got a short time frame in which to do this, and we've got a schedule. Obviously, we have to mark up a budget resolution that enables the committees to go to work, Finance and Ways and Means. But I know that Speaker Ryan in the House side has a schedule. He wants to keep his members on, and then we've got to stay on schedule in the Senate if we're going to get this done before the end of the year. And that is the goal, and I think we can meet it. It's going to take an extraordinary amount of work, but a lot of work's already been done. We've been meeting for months on this, and I think it's very doable.
I'm sorry, sir, but you don't think it's a next year event? You think this could be wrapped up by the end of the year? Do you think it would be retroactive to the beginning of this year?
Well, most tax changes are going to be prospective, and obviously there are going to be a number of tax changes that will have to have transition rules. But I do think that the goal, and I think it's a realistic one, given the amount of work that's already been done, is to try and have the House move first, the Senate move second, and get something to the President before the end of the year.
Senator, thank you very much. Senator Thune.